What up, YouTube? It is 12 noon. I just finished dropping my girlfriend off at work and getting me some Starbies. I don't know why the fuck I said that. I've never called Starbucks Starbies before. This is my first time. Ignore it. Anyway, today I really wanted to touch on the topic of inferiority complexes, because I go through my day-to-day life and I meet so many people, and a huge majority of them are just bitches. Not women. I'm talking about just people who are weak, soft-spoken, and just there's such a lack of vigor and intensity and purpose in these people. And it just saddens me because I'm such a strong believer in self-worth and self-belief and self-love and confidence. I preach that shit all day. And it's just sad to see that so many people go through life doubting themselves and feeling inferior and shuffling around quietly, afraid to speak up and speak their voice. Like, what the fuck is going on? What is the root of that, and how do we fix it? All right, because we're not born that way. No human being is born with self-doubt. All right, that just sounds ridiculous. Oh, this baby was born with crippling anxiety. No, that's not real. That's not a thing. So where does it stem from? Obviously, it can start in childhood conditioning. You know, maybe you had some toxic parents or siblings that always belittled you and didn't really believe in you and didn't encourage you. It could be from relationships that were toxic, maybe dealing with rejection that kind of took a little out of your self-esteem. Even like workplaces could be super toxic as well, because a lot of environments were built to make you feel replaceable. A lot of these places are made to make you feel replaceable because insecure people are easy to control. It could be toxic coworkers who benefit from your hesitation and your insecurity. There's a lot of hyper ambitious people in this world that know that putting other people down and making other people second guess themselves can put them in a better light and put them in a position to shine and lead and get opportunities that you're working for as well. And we often meet a lot of hyper ambitious people who benefit from your softness and your hesitation and your silence. Some people profit off of you second guessing yourself and second guessing your potential and your capabilities, because that'll give them an edge on you. Insecure people are easier to control. Insecure people are easier to compete with. I can go on and on about it, but the point is, nobody is born with self-doubt and insecurity. It's a learned thought pattern over time, but any pattern that is created can be broken. So with all that being said, your inferiority is a lie. You were not born into a hierarchy. You were not born with a set amount of self-worth compared to anybody else. I believe that there is nobody on this planet that is more important than me. And that's not to be arrogant. That's just real. Nobody's life is more important than my life. We are all just on a floating speck of dust through an infinite universe, and we only exist for a flash of time. And I am not going to spend the short amount of my time here, my only life here, cowering and fearing other people and being subservient to other people for absolutely no reason. No, I'm going to be here. I'm going to talk my shit. I'm going to live my purpose. I'm going to fulfill my potential. And I'm going to be a good person and add value to the world and to everyone that I love. All right, so we just spoke about how your inferiority is a lie. Let's talk about the lie of other people's superiority. Here's what nobody tells you. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. I'm talking about the people you admire, the people that you compare yourself to. And if you're watching this and you're a teenager or you're young, even the adults in your life that are in positions of authority, high school teachers, everyone around you is just trying their best to navigate through life, trying to figure this shit the fuck out. Even people in high power positions of authority, even the people that make the rules, everyone is just winging it, just like you and I. Some have good intentions, some have no intentions, and they're just drifting. Some have bad intentions, yes, but nobody knows exactly what the fuck they're doing at all times. The only difference is the varying degrees of self-belief and conviction that people have. Confidence, feeling that they belong, feeling that what they have to say holds value. And this has nothing to do with your past achievements or your fancy job titles or your level of intelligence. None of that justifies superiority. While yeah, it may be the case sometimes, especially, we do live in a meritocracy, and there's varying degrees of authority in society, but we've all come across people with zero competence, zero past achievements, no morale whatsoever, no experience, but they have all the confidence in the world and all the respect from everybody, and they get all these opportunities. And you can't find a single thing that makes that person more qualified than you. And we've all met these people before. They will downplay their failures. They will downplay their inexperience. They'll downplay their mistakes, act like they never happened at all, and keep it pushing. And they have this unwavering self-belief about themselves, and that radiates off of them, and everybody else just falls in line and goes along with it. And I'm not saying that that's a bad quality to have. I'm not saying that these are bad people. In fact, those are probably necessary and at least admirable traits to have in life, because the value that the world places on you is not going to exceed the value that you place on yourself. Remember that. So I encourage people to be bold, stand up straight, talk to people like you know some shit, Talk to people like you believe in some shit, that they can benefit from your words and your interactions and your thoughts and your perspectives, and say that shit with your whole chest. There is nothing wrong with a strong-willed, assertive, confident person. Where the problem lies is when you measure your self-worth by their confidence. That is where you go wrong. The louder and bolder somebody else is has nothing to do with your self-worth. You do not have to measure yourself up against anybody. Just because somebody's loud and proud doesn't mean you have to be quiet and soft. The value that the world places on you is not going to exceed the value that you place on you. I had to say it again. If you ask for the bare minimum all the time, if you don't show yourself the respect that you deserve, you are going to get very little respect from everybody around you. And it's going to trickle off into all the areas of your life, and that negative thinking is going to compound, and that is going to be your reality. Just a little bitch. You will just be a little soft bitch, okay? Boss the fuck up. Stop being soft. Don't be a little fucking bitch. Stop being too fucking humble. If you're too humble and you shuffle around quietly and you're shrinking all the time and you're second guessing yourself and you're letting everybody talk over you and walk over you, you're going to get no respect from anybody. You might be liked. Sure, people may like you. Everybody likes a humble person because you don't have to compete with a humble person. You're safe. You're easy. You'll do things. You'll listen. You'll do favors. You'll show up and do what you're supposed to do and stay in your proper place. Sure, people will like you, but they won't respect you. And if you establish yourself as a harmless and subservient, likable person, you'll find yourself in a position where people will only continue to like you and be accepting of you as long as you stay in your proper place. And that's real shit. All right, so how do we break free from this shit? What is the cure for all of this? Give me a second. I'm gonna go move my car. I'm probably just gonna go grab some lunch. I'll be right back. Oh, thank you so much. All right, where were we? Okay, so we already spoke about the lie of your inferiority and the lie of other people's superiority over you in most cases. So how do we break free of this internalized inferiority? How do we break the cycle? So first, you have to be honest with yourself. You can't fix what you don't notice. So I want you to notice every time that you get those panging thoughts of self-doubt. Every time you hear yourself saying, I'm not qualified enough, this person knows more than me, they're smarter than me, they're more experienced than me, maybe I should stop speaking so much, maybe I'm talking too much, maybe I need to speak up a little more. All those little self-criticisms, stop it. Every time you notice that shit, you gotta flip the script. All right? You gotta cut that shit out. That's the first step. This next point I'm gonna make might be a little bit controversial. Some people won't agree with it, but fuck it. If you've spent your whole life underestimating yourself, now it's time to overestimate yourself on purpose, just to get back to neutral. Let me flip this for you. What if, for a day, you assumed your superiority for once? Yeah, I know that sounds fucking crazy. What if for a day you assumed your superiority? Not in like a loud, obnoxious, arrogant way. No, this is internal. This is an internal exercise. So what if you just tried assuming your superiority, just to bring balance back to years of playing so small? How about you start assuming that your presence is the most powerful one in the room? Start assuming that your ideas are worth hearing the most. Start assuming that you are qualified as a person in whatever you're doing, whatever you're learning, whatever direction you're going. Start assuming that you are qualified even without the evidence, because that is how you build the evidence. You don't have to meet pre-qualifications to be confident and to believe in your ability. Confidence doesn't come from achievements. Achievements come from confidence. So in order to undo all the years of this internalized inferiority, it's time to swing the scale to the other extreme a little bit. Remember, not outwardly acting fucking crazy and obnoxious, but in your mind, the level of value that you place yourself in your mind has to do a hard swing on the other end of the scale to undo all of that internalized bullshit. And it's not about being fake. It's not about pretending to be something that you're not. Because if you pretend to be something, you eventually become what you pretend to be. Acting is being. You can't separate the two. If you're acting like something, if you're acting lazy, then you're being lazy. Then that's a real thing. There's a type of acting, there's a method of acting, a technique in film and theater called method acting. And what method acting is when an actor internalizes every characteristic, every thought process, every gesture of the character that they're playing. Like off stage, off screen, they will literally go through life thinking from this character's mindset and talking like they would talk, walking how they would walk, eating, sometimes even like eating and drinking and using the same mannerisms as the character that they're playing in that role. And an interesting thing that they found was the actors that used this technique often blurred the lines from their character, their role, from their real selves so much that they actually started to think and feel and go throughout life as if they were this actor in real life. They've acted from this mindset so long and so thoroughly that they literally started to become this character. They call it like post-traumatic stress disorder, as a play on, post-traumatic. They call it post-traumatic stress disorder because it is a real thing. There was one study I read up on that they took brain scans of these actors before and after their roles. They asked them a series of questions before they started filming, and then at the end of the project, they asked them the same series of questions or a variety of the same questions, and their character had such a strong influence on their thought process and opinions and personality and their gestures and their preferences. So acting is being. You're not being fake. If you're acting and if you're behaving a certain way, it is real. So step into the character of your best self. Stand up a little taller. Stand up straight. Chest out, shoulders back, chin up. Move with confidence. Slow, controlled mannerisms. Speak up a little bit. Even if your voice is shaky, even if you're soft-spoken, speak up. Do your best. Step into the character of your best self, of your ideal self, and move like that every day. Stop being afraid of your power. Stop being afraid of exhibiting strength and confidence and swagger. Stop being afraid of that. You know what your best self looks like. Stop. You can't be shy and afraid to exude that. Start dressing like you're worth something. The saying is, dress how you want to be addressed. That's some real shit. People are very superficial. They will judge you within 5 seconds and make an opinion on you just of the way you're dressed. Buy a bottle of expensive cologne, not some cheap shit. Look good, smell good. That is alone is going to boost your self-confidence. When you look into that mirror, you're looking at your best self. That is going to get you halfway there. Look people in the eye. Set boundaries with people. Set boundaries that might, even if they make people feel uncomfortable. Learn to be a little defiant. You don't always have to go along with the fucking status quo. Break the rules a little bit. Rules and the status quo, these are created by people with strong opinions who are also in positions of authority, or at least have the perception of being an authority. You don't have to listen to that shit. Somebody's idea of you or their idea of the norm does not have to apply. So the way you speak and the way you carry yourself is so important when it comes to navigating through life and gaining respect. Fix your posture. Strengthen the tone of your voice. Overcompensate a little bit if you have to. Because usually when people try to fix their posture or develop a stronger voice, it's best to exaggerate it a little bit, because most of the time when you're exaggerating certain characteristics, the outside perception of you, it just looks normal. You know, people think that, you know, when you're thinking about, you know, walking and talking a certain way that you're not used to, in our minds sometimes we think that we're kind of overdoing it, but it really just comes across as normal, natural confidence. So don't feel like you're being fake. Don't feel guilty about assuming that you're the best. I will say that shit 1,000 times throughout the day. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. In my head, not out loud. Just say it to yourself. Talk to yourself. Coach yourself through that. That is how you develop self-love and self-worth and the confidence that you need to overcome any feeling of internalized inferiority. Stop playing small. Stop shrinking in rooms where you're actually the smartest one. Stop silencing yourself around people that are just bluffing their way to the top. Stop making yourself palatable for other people and just move with strength and comfort in yourself and your abilities and personal power. Let other people worry about their own shit. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I hope this message resonated with you guys. Boss the fuck up. Stop being afraid of your own power and move through life with audacity. If you don't, you're going to stay stuck while people who are less talented, have less insight, and have less purpose pass you right by just because they believed in themselves a little bit more than you believed in yourself. All right, I'm out of here.